Greetings. So, as the title of this video says, what do you know and how do you know it? So, this could be a really interesting question for you to just look at for yourself deeply from all angles and start with the question, well, what is it to know something? What is it to know something? What I've discovered is often knowing is associated with or correlated with experience. If you experience it, there's a degree of knowing of it. If you see it, taste it, touch it, hear it, smell it, feel it, you know an aspect of something. But is that really knowing it? Is that knowing something partially? What would it mean to know something whole? What is it that you're knowing? If you're only noticing supposedly pieces through senses, then what do you actually know? Are you knowing the pieces? And do those pieces add up to the total thing? And what about the stuff you don't know? Is there things that you don't know? Like, if you don't have the sense for it, is it there? And if it is there, and you don't know it, or if it is there, and you do know it, but you don't sense it, or experience it rather, do you really know the thing that you think you know? Because if you only have like the 5 senses of it, and there's maybe potentially a million senses of it, then what are you actually knowing when you know a minuscule amount of it? So, is that knowing? And if you could potentially know and sense everything that there is to sense of supposed something, would that be knowing it finally? And maybe you wouldn't know. Maybe that wouldn't actually be what it is. So again, what do you know? Or what is it to know? And if you don't know what it is to know, can you ever really know? I know it sounds kind of like crazy talk at this moment, and perhaps that's good, because the mind at a certain point, this goes blah, and it either quiets or it goes, this guy's crazy, or this guy has no idea what he's talking about, or this is nonsense. Nonsense, yeah. Hopefully. So why am I making the video? Well, if you're in a rut, or if you're in a predictable way of experiencing your life and you're not that happy with it, it's sometimes good to like jumble things up or come to a place where you actually don't know, because in that space there's a potential for something new to emerge. Because if you're always knowing who you are, who they are, what's out there, what something is, why it is, where it came from, and you know that you know, it's just going to be that way forever until you there's a space of like, oh, actually maybe I don't know, maybe that guy isn't an asshole, maybe that day he came in and he gave me that stare, he just broke up with his wife of 20 years and lost a child before that, and he was just angry in that moment, and he wasn't an asshole. I just concluded this judgment of him, and from that point on I felt this way about him, and there was this kind of strangeness between us. And it's an example of like how your knowing continues each moment into creating your own experience. Or you had a rough childhood, maybe kids made fun of you, and then from that moment on, all human beings were untrustworthy, and it was just something that you continued to believe based upon you knew something to be a certain way. But again, if you've come to a place of where you don't know, or you find out through evidence that makes sense to you that that's not the case, there's a space and a potential for no longer knowing that same way, or allowing that knowing to dictate your experience, your certainty, your knowing of how the world is. Because ultimately, you may find through this pointer that this video is there's less and less that you can really pinpoint. You can solidify and say, I know this. This is certain. For example, like how do you know you are who you think you are? Is it based upon some idea that, oh well, there's structure here, and therefore I am that. I am this shape, or I am this feeling, or I am this person who isn't good based upon a belief system I have of what's good and bad. Like maybe I stole some candy when I was a kid, and therefore I'm kind of an impure being. Or maybe I have a little bit of a temper here and there, and therefore I think I'm an asshole. These are just categories that you've labeled yourself based upon past experience and memories, no? And perhaps other people are that same way. Like you believe other people are certain ways based upon your experiences of them. Or even choice. Or not having choice. These are beliefs. Like, oh, I know I have choice. I feel it. It's happening. I'm going to do this, therefore I do. Well, did you decide that you were going to do that? Or did that experience and idea arise, and that's what happened? Do your thoughts come up? Or do you think the thoughts that are going to come up for you to then think about them? And same with feeling. Maybe you'll find that you don't actually know either way. Perhaps in this investigation that this video is pointing towards, you may see that you just can't really nail down what something is, or if it's certain. Maybe you're familiar with the term of like non-duality or oneness, like, and it's like it's so foreign. Like, well, no, there are separate things. I'm here and you're there. What is the I that's supposedly here or somewhere, and what's over there? Like, is it proven, or is it just an experience that seems that way that you just become accustomed to? And this video isn't about like having to figure out one way or the other. It's really about coming to a place of a self-recognition that you don't really know. I don't know. I actually don't know. And that's not necessarily a problem. Because there's also probably an idea attached to like not knowing. I was like, well, if I don't know, then I can't survive. It's only through knowing stuff that I can then make decisions and distinctions that will allow me to make right choices or good choices to survive. And it sounds good. It sounds like a reasonable story. It sounds like a reasonable, healthy concern. But can you prove that? Because again, you don't know where thoughts necessarily come from, feelings necessarily come from, decisions come from. Like when is a right decision made, or a wrong decision? Or how do you know you're noticing what you need to notice to make the right decision? Because like there's infinite things that you potentially not be accounting for in every second. And what if you don't know them all? How can you make a decision? And yet, somehow things are happening. Somehow we found ourselves making decisions, or what seemed like decisions, or perhaps it was just an experience that was just unfolding. We don't really know, yet here we are in this, maybe call it a space or a place or a now, or I mean, you can't really know what to call it. Yet here it is. And somehow it's maybe worked out to a certain degree to this point, and hopefully it'll work out past this point. But truthfully, if you're honest with yourself, you'll notice that maybe it hasn't worked out in a way that you would call ideal. Because, friends, family, animals, things seem to pass and die. And that idea often feels like it's not the right, that's not working out in a way that is ideal. But it happens. That's what seems to take place. There's birth and death and experience and what seems to be feelings and thoughts and decisions and non-decisions and fear, joy, happiness in various cycles. Some people seem to have it better, some people seem to have it worse. But again, I believe that the beginning of the video was about coming to a place where you recognize you don't know and allowing that to be a catalyst for creating space to allow for something new. So I hope some of that sinks in potentially, and if not, then that's just the case. Go about your day as you will, and I'll make another video soon. Hope everyone's doing well in this time of Corona and the various stresses and odd circumstances that are arising as such. All right, take care. Bye.